Hey team, hope you all are doing well. Today's topic, I had another question I was asked is how long should my long run be for a marathon? I think most athletes can get sufficient results in the marathon distance, getting their long run anywhere from around 15 to 17 miles in length. I think there are a lot of athletes out there that will go further than the marathon distance. Again, it's all going to be really dependent on the athlete themselves, their experience, their fitness level. My farthest long run that I ever did was a 30-mile long run. I remember I was running a 6:02 mile pace. It was over rolling terrain in Kentucky when I was training for the 2011 Monumental Indianapolis Marathon. Looking back at it, it's too far. I mean, the majority of my long runs, even prior to leading up to running 219, ranged anywhere from 16 miles out to around 24 miles in length. I rarely did any long runs over 24 miles leading up to my sub 220. So I don't think that, I think for most athletes you can get some really sufficient results in overall fitness by doing a long run anywhere from, like I said, around anywhere from 16 to 18 miles for the marathon distance. I think it's how you're setting up your training that's really going to be key. Again, if you're running too much of your weekly mileage too aerobically, you're building an enormous amount of endurance, which is very good. You will definitely run much more economically, more efficiently if you've trained properly in terms of building your mileage and you've stayed consistent over a minimum of 12 weeks, preferably 24 weeks. Again, training for 3 months, 4 months, or even out to 6 months to 24 weeks. The longer you can prepare for a marathon, I think the better. But I think in terms of how far you run, I think that for most marathoners get really great results running anywhere from 16 miles out to around 22 to 23 miles. I think there's a point where you start to get diminished returns once you go further. I think if you're setting up your training properly and you're running enough of a high enough percentage of your weekly volume at or below goal marathon race pace, and you really focus on doing a varied pace, faster long run one weekend, followed the next weekend by an easy, relaxed long run, and you're doing that consistently over several weeks, several months, I think those types of athletes, especially if you're gradually building up your fitness where you've moved up to a point where you got your long run out to around 16 to 18 miles, I think that is right around the sweet spot for most athletes. Are there other athletes out there that run well over 20 miles on a consistent basis? Yes. I mean, like from my own experience, I trained, the majority of my long runs were over 20 miles. So again, it's just going to be dependent on the individual. I've done a 27 miler, I've done a 28 miler a few times. Like I said, one time I did a 30 miler, and that was 6 weeks out from the 2011 Monumental Indianapolis Marathon. I never ended up running my second fastest marathon there, finishing 5th in 2:26:42. If you're new to the channel, my PR is 2:19:35. I ran at the 2007 California International Marathon. I finished as the top American and in 4th place in that race. And I had a lot of failures prior to that. So it's always nice to talk about your PRs, but if you're being real, and I always try to be that way with my videos, I want you all to know that I had several setbacks. Feel free to go to the About page on RunDreamAchieve. That lists all of my races. So I had a lot of bad races. I had some mediocre races. I had some piss poor races, and I had some very good, strong races that, even top elite Kenyans would have to, focus on being able to run the types of times I ran. So I had a lot of ups and downs too. So I get the athletes that leave comments on my videos. I don't care if you're a beginner or you're an elite level athlete training for the 5K or the marathon. I understand the frustrations that go into training for a marathon or a 5K or 10K. It's about how you're setting up your training, but always focus on using leverage. Focus on how can I get the best possible results by training smarter rather than putting in higher volume. If you're thinking that higher volume is the answer to running a faster marathon, my answer to you is it's not always the answer. I got up to as high as 142 miles a week training for trying to improve upon that 2:19:35 I ran. I thought more mileage was the answer, and I spent a decade after running 2:19:35 trying to improve upon that time. So it's extremely difficult when you you're in that flow state where everything goes perfectly, and that was how it went for me on that day at the California International Marathon. It's very, very hard to continue to mimic, stellar results that you drop, and it's that drive and focus to, well, maybe I can go faster, that gets us out the door and continues to keep us motivated to compete and to try to improve upon our PRs. But sometimes you can run a specific time that you just simply, you may not ever be able to run that fast again. And that was kind of what that 2:19:35 was for me. If you've watched any of my videos, I started running the mile in high school, the 1600 as a 5:30 1600 meter athlete as a freshman in high school. So I didn't start off with an enormous amount of talent. I had to work several years to get to that point. So if you're lacking talent, always remember you have your drive, you have your discipline, you have your desire to get out the door and to run the best possible race that you possibly can. But it's very important when you're preparing for any distance, in this case the marathon, make sure that you have a plan in place. Don't just guess what type of workouts you need to be doing. It helps if you take the guesswork out of your preparation. I've tried to do that with the running courses on RunDreamAchieve.com. Obviously sharing some tips here on the channel, and creating training plans and working with athletes one-on-one as an online coach. Focus on how can I get the best possible results with the least amount of work. Okay, I think we've all know hardworking individuals that are highly educated, they have numerous degrees, but maybe they're living paycheck to paycheck. We know several hardworking athletes that work their tails off that never reach their goals. Why is that? That's kind of a philosophy that I've always studied. Like, how are other athletes or other people getting better results than I've gotten in the past, and they're working 50% less? Okay, so I think it's very important to always focus on how should I set up my training in the best possible way, so that in the end I go into my goal marathon or my goal 10K or my goal half marathon in the best possible shape. I'm fully rested, I'm fully confident, I'm relaxed, I know that I've done the work, and that most importantly, that I've trained adequately enough at or far below my goal marathon race pace, so that I get that race pace to now feel more like a tempo run. It's not so aggressive and difficult for me. So in terms of how long should your long run be for your marathon, every athlete's different. Some athletes can get some great results off of doing a 13 to 15 mile long run. Other athletes might need anywhere from 17 to 23 to 24 miles in long run. That's kind of the area that I was in. I usually did my long runs, especially when I was in great shape, anywhere from 17 to 24 miles in that duration. So I think that might work great for you as well. So just look at your past training. And most importantly, if you want to really take your training and racing to the next level, and you want to start following a different strategy, consider the resources on RunDreamAchieve.com. Feel free to reach out to me under any of my videos, leave comments. I always respond to you all, as you all know. And if you're new to the channel, hit that bell icon, the subscribe button, so when I make a new video, you'll be notified of it. And if there's anything else I can help you all out with, if there's another question or another topic that you have that you want me to make a video about, feel free to leave me a comment below this video. And definitely check out the resources below this video or under all of my videos. And I hope they will be helpful for you in helping you get to that next level in your marathon training. So I wish you all the best, and I will talk to you all in the next video.